Hey everybody, Mr. O'Donnell here, walking you through your tutorial on this camera that we have right here. This is the new camera I want us to be able to start playing around with. If we play with the camcorders a little bit, this, everybody, is what we are going to call the Canon DSLR. The actual model that we're using is called the T6i. And the DSLR cameras are one of the more favorite cameras that students like to be able to use. We have two different DSLRs. This one is going to be about the Canon, a traditional DSLR, and the other one that we're going to show you guys a little bit later in the year will be the Sony mirrorless camera. But since we've been in the Canon family, we're going to start off here. And also, like I said, it's a little bit more traditional. So I want you to be able to watch this tutorial, get a little bit comfortable with about how to be able to change some of the how to be able to use the camera, how to be able to take photos, how to take video, and such. So let's jump into the thing. So if you look here, the cameras are all in the equipment room. I'm going to show you where they all are in a second. But the camera itself is a very traditional camera. This is the same camera that my father, who's a professional photographer, has used for many, many years, back in the day when it used to be film. They switched these out to be 100% digital, but still kept the same form factor, means that it feels like a traditional camera. And so as you pick it up with the right hand, it has a grip right here where it feels very comfortable for you to be able to grab and hold. On the top right, you can see right here, this is what we call the shutter button. This is what we will use to be able to click and take pictures. Also, if you'll notice when you push, even without any batteries in there, you can feel that you can push down a little bit, and it gives a little bit of pressure. Then you push a little bit farther, and then you'll feel a click to take that. So that's a very important piece on it, because that first piece, that halfway down pressure, until you feel it give a little bit, is the focus. When the camera is set to automatic focus. Then when you push it all the way, that will be a click to be able to take the photograph. So for the most part, if you flip over on the other side of this, you should be able to see right here, and it should say up on the top, AF/MF. That is your focus. Is this on autofocus or is it on manual focus? All the cameras right now should be set to an autofocus. We're going to talk a little bit more as we get to more advanced levels about how we can be able to switch that to the manual focus. If you did and you feel like you're ready, you would switch this over to MF. And then the focus is not this, the big, large, where your hand would, to be able to go with the normal zoom. It is up here at the front of the lens. This is go all the way around, and this shows you how to be able to, or this is where you'll be focusing. But for right now, we're going to switch this back over to autofocus. Below that, you will see it says stabilizer on off. That should always be able to remain on. And that, in essence, is the lens, what we have. So go back to here to where this fits. Use your right hand fits. You have your finger on the shutter. Your left thumb is going to sort of sit in this open area, but it'll be right next to this other button we're going to talk a little bit. That is for filming. So basically, if I want to record something, thumb button. If I want to take a photograph or focus, that is my right trigger button. All right, well, let's get into the Canon. We need to turn this thing on, so we got to get to be able to use it. So as you be able to get your equipment, I want you to take a look here. This is the equipment room. As you go into the equipment room, we have a couple different things here. First off, where the cameras are all located. You see the cameras are all located, and they're located by number. And you can see here that I am using actually camera number 2. All the cameras are put up inside those cubbies. When you are finished, please return the camera back to its cubby position with the same number, and try to be able to have the number facing out so they all not necessarily look the same way too. Second thing that you'll notice is I need to be able to get an SD card. We're familiar with where the SD cards are. And then the batteries. The batteries are going to be here in this drawer. This drawer that you can see as you open it up, all the batteries are color-coded. They are color-coded different ways. Some of the batteries are blue. Those would be for our traditional Canon camcorders. There'll be green ones, which we're not really using. That would be for those entry-level cameras for the kids in the level 1 class. But these Canon batteries are dotted yellow. That yellow is supposed to be able to help us identify the cubbies where these all go to as well. And remember, after you're done with all of these, leave it in if it still has a decent 50% charge or more. If not, you find the box that says dead batteries. You drop that in there, and then that's kind of where it goes. All right, so how to be able to attach the battery. You can see I have an SD card here, and I have my battery, and there are two different places on these ones. Right on the side next to the number of the camera, there is a little door. If I pull that out and lift it open, is where I have an SD card slot. I can pop that open, and I can see there's a card in here already. Pop it in, and it gives. If you have it go in the opposite direction, it won't feel comfortable. So as usual, do not force something in. A way to be able to remember all cameras is before you put a camera into anything, even if it's a tiny little micro SD in one of our the drones, you will notice that there is an icon that sort of walks you through and shows you the direction. Notice how there's a notch on the top of the SD card, and the picture, the icon itself also has a notch. That is trying to tell you that is the direction for that to go in. Close the door, seal it shut, and now that's in there. So the SD card goes on the side. If I flip this thing upside down to the bottom is where I can access the battery. The battery wants you to be able to, it says battery open there. We want you to be able to put your fingernail in, lift it towards you, and pop it out. As usual, if you need to be able to find a battery, as we deal with so many different cameras, like if you're putting an SD card in is a challenge, putting batteries can be a challenge too. What you want to be able to look is for the contact points. That's those copper bottoms right there. And then look inside the camera and think about would those copper connections go in. So ultimately telling you where. And they'll also give you examples here about how you can be able to, which direction to be able to pop that into. But you put this into, gentle nudge, and you can see it doesn't go all the way. So go the other way because the copper points are pointing to the top. So I push it this way. It should go all the way in until this gray latch catches it. Now it's stuck in there. Close it, and we're ready to rock and roll. All right. So there it is. The camera has battery. It has its SD card. Let's turn the thing on. Up on the top, next in between where our finger and thumb reside, there is an off, on, and a camera mode. I want us to flip originally this to the on button. Now that this is on, we can see that the screen on the back has come up already for us. And it has some information on there that what sort of modes that we're in. If I want to, I can be able to turn this on or off. Up on the very top, there's a display button. And it says, do you want anything on the screen or not? Display off, there's nothing on there. Display on, and now I can see it. Now, some of you are thinking, if it's off, how am I supposed to be able to take a picture with this thing? If I can't see anything. Well, like a true photographer, they want you to put your eye up into the eyepiece right here. But if you're interested, you can be able to switch it the other way. But for the most part, I want you to be able to start thinking about using your eye if you're going to be taking photos, putting it directly in the eyepiece. Now, let me show you a little knob up here on the top. Do you see this knob right there? It's an interesting one, plus and minus. This is may be helpful for you because I'm going to be using some of these cameras, and unfortunately, you've seen me with these glasses on, and that means I have an inability to see relatively close. So this is a helpful tool for people who have eyesight issues. I want to be able to see what the lens is seeing before I record. So this is just if I can actually see through the eyepiece. This does not affect the focus at all of what your camera is. So when you move this in and out, you can hear it kind of slide a little bit one direction or another. You want to be able to do that until you see into the eyepiece some of the numbers and the settings that will show up. Once those are clear, then you know at least what you're seeing through the lens will be clear to you. Okay? So put your eye up into there, be able to use that focus to be able to get that nice and ready for you. And there you go. Now, this is an interesting viewfinder in the back because as I have the display on, some people may want to be able to do this, flip the display out. I can turn the display, watch this, all the way around 360. And I'm going to show you why you may want to be able to use this later. And if actually I wanted to, I can flip it. And so now the display is completely gone because it's protected on the inside. Now, this is a good sort of standard place about where I would like to be able to have you keep the display to help sort of protect it and such. Keep this here. Because then when I show you the grip that we're going to use, if you can pop it out, it works well on the grip. So I like to be able to leave it like that. Have it set to auto, and let's take our first photo. We're going to go deeper dive into taking better photos and videos by changing these by changing the wheel here, because of a lot of different settings that we can go to, but I'm only going to want to be able to two for right now. And the first one is the big green A, which is shooting on auto. Now, if a real photographer, if he is watching this, they would say, dear God, do not use it on auto, because they want you to be able to get into the settings. But for many of us, this is our first attempt playing with these, and we're not going to go into f-stops and ISO and all this sort of things that can get a little complicated, but can really increase how good your shots are. But for right now, let's keep the thing on auto. So from there, we put it onto auto. I have my camera turned on, and you can see it's trying to guess because of low lighting. You can see the flash is trying to be able to come on here. Okay, if I close it, it pops up again. Well, that's because we're on the auto thing and we can't really control it. The computer is taking control over it. So, but let me show you generally how to be able to do this. We're going to be able to try to be able to frame our shot in here. I'm going to put my eye up to the eyepiece, and then I'm going to move on the left-hand side. Back and forth allows me to move in on my lens. The lens that I have up here on top, you can see, is, if I go all the way to one side, the lowest is an 18. And if I go all the way to the other side, it's 55. So that's what we refer to the lenses as, the numbers on top. So this is an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. Okay, pretty standard general kind of a lens. You can see it's not a giant zoom lens. It's not great in terms of doing super up close stuff. It's a good general sit in the middle kind of a thing. So I'm going to put this up here. Let me show you how it works. Take my camera, find my frame that I shot that I want, ultimately pop the thing up and take my picture.
I can see I'm not needed here.
Soon as I hit it, you can see now the display pops up and shows it what it was. It's gone. It disappears right away. If I want to be able to see the picture again, I hit the play button in the bottom, and now there is the photograph that I have taken. Okay. There's a wheel next to it, a different wheel from one on top here. This wheel right here, it has letters on there, but for the most part, when you're in the play mode, this just allows me to go back and forth to see existing photos I have on the card. There's a dog, there's a picture of the classroom, there's another one. I can go left to right, bring up my pictures that I want. Now, if you feel like right away this is a picture that I don't want, I want to get rid of that thing, right below that on the bottom, there is a delete button. So if I hit delete, it says, do you want to erase this? It's on cancel. So if I push this wheel in the middle, it'll go back to cancel if it's an accident. But if I really want to cancel it, hit delete. Then I'll hit the right button to move over to the erase. Then hit the middle again too. Now that picture is completely erased. That in essence is how to be able to take a photo. Frame up your picture, zoom in if you need to. Hold that button down to be able to focus a little bit. Hit your button. And there comes your picture. Got it? That's in essence of taking a photo. Next thing is we're going to be doing a few photos in class, but for the most part, we're shooting a lot of video. So what's the next step? Oh, before that, though, I want to be able to show you the other setting, the two ones to be able to play with. Some of you may be going to athletic events, and so we can play with some different settings. So A right now is general stuff. If I say, hey, go down there, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Week, they have a table, take some photos. Or hey, they're doing something best dressed this week, take some photos. Go down there, have it set to auto, and you're good to go. If you're going to be doing something actiony, they're doing some lunchtime games, or they're doing something, I want you to go out to a game and shoot. Move the icon, the wheel, over to this little running person, that icon. That now, you can see here it says, hey, we have now set this to the sports mode. The sports mode is going to generally try to change some of those things that I mentioned before, ISO and f-stop and all that, to try to be able to help you get better action for pictures. Like you have all probably taken pictures in the past, you realize one of the issues is that you're going to get blurry people. So this is going to help a little bit with not having to do anything else except just turn the wheel. And so from here now, you'll notice it'll go much faster when I take my pictures. Flash is not popping up because the flash is not going to be helpful at all, really, when we're doing action pictures and such. All right, and so there's how to be able to take regular photos and action photos. On the setting, by the way, too, if you'll notice, I forgot to mention, is down in the bottom corner, shows if I'm in sports mode, some of those details, but what you want to take note of is your battery level. You can see here, I have about 2 bars left on that. So, all right, so next is, hey, let's do some filming. So up on the top, this is, I turn this to on, but if I need to now go to video and film, I'm going to lift this up, turn this to the video mode. Now look what happens. Instead of using the eyepiece, the camera's telling us like, hey, let's use the screen in the back, the flip screen. And instantly you can see I have already, and your camera should have it as well too, the 3x3 rule of thirds grid that's on there. Now if I zoom in and out with my lens, you can see that it all showing directly up in the viewfinder. If I wanted to be able to focus on any of these items, like I mentioned before, we're going to go to the shutter where you would take a photograph, and then I'm going to hold that for a little bit. You can see it's trying to be able to focus on one particular spot with that green box right there. Then when I'm ready to start recording, I'm going to use my thumb up here, hit that button, and then in the screen I can see there is there's the red little button that is indicating that it's recording. Also on the camera itself, it shows me that I'm recording over here. Let's be careful of that syndrome that we talked about, right? The grandma or the mother-in-law syndrome when you're filming the opposite. Be aware when you're filming. So right now this thing is recording. and I can be able to move from side to side. If I do want to zoom in and out, it's going to mess up my focus, so I may want to go back at times to be able to refocus a little bit. I press that down a little bit, and when I'm done, hit that button back over here with my thumb, and recording is finished. To be able to play that, same as I did with my photographs, I'm going to hit play on the bottom. Now it looks a little bit different. There's a big triangle play button, so like I did before about in this wheel down here, if I hit play in the middle, now should come up some of the tools for this, and I can hit play again, and now we should be able to see and hear your video. The audio on this is not going to be good. There is a microphone. The microphone is these tiny little dots right in the front of the camera. Not great about picking stuff up. If you're going to be doing interviews, not good. If you're just going to be going out and getting some general footage and we want a little bit of the background or the natural audio that comes with it, then you can just use that. But I'm going to show you an option to be able to increase your, to get better audio with this. So that in essence is our video. You can see playing time up here on the upper left. It shows that this thing was, let me go back over there. It can show that this was, we're on second one and how far along in your status bar. Great. This is terrible though. I don't want that anymore. I can hit set. I go back to the middle. I can do first frame, next frame. But for the most part, I wouldn't do a whole lot of editing here. I would just either watch them, or if I wanted to, hit the play button and get back out of there. Play, and let's hit the delete button, go back and erase. So now that's deleted. All right, the next step is this lens is a good generic middle of the road lens. We want to be able to use some different things. And so as you can see over here on the table here, I got a couple other lenses. I got tall lens, short lens. And like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I got a middle one as well too. I want to be able to swap this lens out. So first off, anytime you do any changes, let's move this over to turn this thing off. Camera now goes off, and now I need to be able to take this off. Up in the front, right where it tells you the type of camera that we have, the Canon Rebel TSI, there's a button over here. This button is now going to allow me to remove the lens. So putting the camera down on a flat surface, what we're going to do is be able to push that lens, and then we are going to rotate, like everything, usually right is tight, left is loose. So I'm going to go counterclockwise or loose, and then the lens should come off relatively easy. Now if I compare these lenses together, here we have the key parts of the camera. I have what you can see is the body of the camera and the different lenses. This is why people like the DSLRs a lot, is that you can get some seriously different looks with your filming based on the lenses that you have. Now, although these cameras are nice cameras and they're quite pricey, you want to get into some real photography and some real video work, you are going to want to get some really nice lenses. Lenses can go crazy expensive, way more expensive than the body itself too. Some of the lenses that we have, we do not have super high-end lenses. And for the most part, you can tell oftentimes by the opening, the size.
Mike Wazowski.
That is here about how much light is being come in, and a lot of it is just how challenging it is to have some perfectly refined glass at that size to be able to get in, and there's other ones inside there as well. So this is our medium lens. That's the Goldilocks, perfect in the middle. You want to film somebody just a few feet away, like you got out your phone, take a picture, shoot a little video. That's great. Me and a couple steps away. That's the generic middle lens. Next one is this one. And you can see, like I mentioned before, is our lenses are decided. Talk to us about the numbers. So if the last one went from 18 to 55, we have some larger lenses that basically pick up where we left off in the story. 55 up to 250. And same as before, as I rotate the lens, it's going to allow me to come in and out. I have the same ability on this lens as well too, to go autofocus or manual focus. The lenses should be covered on both sides. This is helping us protect them since they are expensive. They have, same as before, we're going to simply take these off. One of them is a screw, the other one is a pinch. Then we're going to match up like we did before when it was taken off. But this time you need to take note of this white square that is on the lens. And we're going to find a similar white square on the body itself too. Match up those two. Move it around a little bit until you feel it gets kind of snug, and then you're going to do righty-tighty until you have a nice little click. Now we have a much more robust lens, and you can simply tell too by the size of it coming out or in. Works the exact same way as the other lens, but you're going to get much closer. Some of you may think this would be perfect for sports. I can get some stuff. Well, unfortunately, it is. You can get in, but you're still going to struggle in terms of having some clear stuff because these are not super high-end lenses. All right, I'm going to do one more lens here because I want to show you a different kind of a lens. So I'm going to push the button again, take this one off, take it, turn it, righty-tighty and lefty-loosey. Now this one right here, this is a really interesting lens. In many ways, I think this is a lens you really need to start playing with. If I look here, this one is simply a 50 lens. So if the other one, remember we went from 18 to 55, we're like, well, why would I need one that's just 50 if I have this thing that can get to 50? Well, interesting, there's no other numbers. It's just 50. That's all it does, which means we are all familiar with, I can zoom, even on my cell phone, I can pinch and zoom. There is no zooming with this lens, which actually makes it really awesome. And by awesome means that this is the lens more than anything else that is going to give you a really interesting bokeh effect, or the blurred background, or you may call it the portrait effect on your phone. Okay. So if you have somebody middle distance, I'm doing an interview, having somebody talk, and I really want that person to pop or that subject to pop, try grabbing one of these. Also can give a much more of a cinematic sort of a feel to it. Like before, it's the same sort of thing. So I'm going to take the bottom off, pinch and take the top part of this thing off, match up. Now wait a second, look at this lens. There's no, yikes, there's no white square. Well, some of the lenses from are built differently, and so you can see here there is a white square, but there's also a red dot. Well, I'm just going to match up red dot to the red dot, and as before, move it around until it feels comfortable, righty-tighty, and then there's the snap in there. Now we have the 50 millimeter in there. Some people refer to it as the nifty 50. Okay, pop this thing in. When you turn this on, I'm going to put this over to my auto setting and put this over to the video side. And now when we have this particular one on, and it's hard to be able to see, is same thing applies, is I'm going to be able to have my this on here. What I would recommend on this one is I would move over here to the manual focus, because that is all this lens does. Although I'm doing this, this is not a zoom because it is only 50 millimeters. This basically tells me what will be in focus, and it's hard with where we're at with the lighting in my particular room right now, but I want to be able to put my character, put my object in my frame, and then from there I want to be able to put focus them up, and then be able to get something far off in the distance, some space. So if you're going to be doing this is something you kind of want to be able to do outside. Put somebody, you can frame them well, you put them in your rule of thirds, focus with the camera, then have sort of a lot of space behind them. A great place to be able to practice this is right out front of the library. Have somebody stand there where you have the big amphitheater behind them and some space behind them to be able to give you some different looks. This is the one I really want you to kind of be able to play with, okay, the 50 millimeter. Same thing applies in terms of recording and such. You can do photos and you can do video with it. Next is, I mentioned the microphone. But before that, I wanted to be able to show you something else too, is that a better way to be able to, as opposed to just be able to grabbing and holding this thing like a photographer, I want us to think a little bit like a video person. And so I want to be able to, I have some toys I want to be able to play with. We're familiar with tripods and monopods, but I want to show you this. This is a stabilizing grip. Bum, bum, bum. The Z grip. As you can see, if you go into the equipment room, we have a lot of these. There's about 8 of these or so. They are sitting above the cameras that we have already there. These are simply just horseshoe-shaped pieces that we are going to be able to put the camera inside of to give us a better handle so that I can hold it from different ways. It helps protect the camera, and it can help you get some different angles, because sometimes you want to be able to get that low angle. Remember, we're getting people's feet walking. And how am I going to hold the camera? This way I can be able to grab this handle from the bottom and be able to change it the other way. So I'm going to turn the camera off over here, because anytime we do some manipulating, changing lenses, putting something into a grip or to a cage or a rig or a monopod, tripod, turn the thing off. It's a good practice to get started with. All right, so now I have my camera. It acts like a tripod, because that same screw that can fit into everything is right here on the bottom. We can move this up and down, as you can see. Let's just pick this one somewhere right in the middle, like here. Find the hole on the bottom where this bolt is going to go into. Move the what you call it out of the way. In a perfect world, if we always would do this, I would probably not have the camera strap on there. But since kids use cameras for different things, I'm going to leave the strap on. At times you feel like it may get in the way, particularly when you're doing something like this. But for now, just leave it in there. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but you want to be able to find and match those up where they particularly go here, but you know, once you get going, and remember how tight, we don't want to do this thing super tight. You may want to have somebody help out to hold the camera for a little bit. And so once it starts going and you get a little bit comfortable, then kind of adjust the camera. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way here. Adjust the camera so it's sitting perfectly straight or perpendicular to the rest. And you can see it moves a little bit. Then once I got it on there, then giving a little bit more squeezes to be able to make it a little bit tight. Cozy, but not cozy and snug, but not too strong on there. Now you can see I have this handle set up and where I can just hold this, and if I wanted to, I can hold it from here. I can hold it from the side. What's great on the bottom is it has these ramps where I can just simply put the camera down, and it's very stable where I put it on the ground, on a table, something like that. Very stable. I like this so that if you want to be able to hold it from the bottom and to get a low angle shot. Now for filming, this is the neat piece. Remember the our screen that we have back here? Nice part here is now we do the flip out. Let me turn the power on, go to our video mode. Take this screen, rotate it all the way around, and now I have the ability, if I'm filming from one direction, if I'm holding it from here, I can now have the camera very low, and I can be able to have this no matter where I'm at. If I want to pick this up and try to be able to get a coach talking, I can hold the rig way up high and change my change the screen to be able to give me the angle of what I kind of want. So once this is in there, it's nice and strong and sturdy. I'm feeling pretty good. Last thing on the top, there's this thing up here, which is very similar to the same thing that sits on top of the existing camera. It's weird that it's on top because we call it a shoe. And the reason for that is because we put other things that we are going to attach to this that are on the bottom. So this shoe that we have here is the same thing. And basically we can attach stuff. I'm going to show you in another tutorial about lights that I want us to be able to start using. But for right now, I want to talk about your audio. And the audio choice that we have here, everybody, dun, 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 is a shotgun mic. Shotgun mic, think about what a shotgun does. A shotgun is a gun that you pointed at something and out of it goes not a single bullet, not one thing, but sort of a spread is how a shotgun works. So the shotgun mic is going to act the same way. We're going to be able to put this on top of the camera in hopes of getting audio in a ever sort of expanding, V kind of a thing from here. The microphone here is going to be significantly much better from that tiny little microphone. And you can just tell right here, that little hole as opposed to this, it's going to be much better. On the back of this is some things we need to be aware of. So it should be in the off position, and the light on the left should be off. You'll have a couple other settings about 0, +10, -10. Let's have that right in the middle. Then when you turn the microphone on, there's setting 1, and then there's another one, a pass filter that let's just not go to there. So for the most part, leave this one in the middle and go to just on. I should see my green light on the other side. And then here comes the traditional aux jack that you guys are familiar with. We're not going to plug this into the headphones. You want to find the mic settings. And then on the bottom is that piece that will attach to the shoe. So let me go over here and show you how that works. Okay, here is this. We are simply going to slide this into that, making sure that it's somewhat loose. Loosen up this side first here. Once it gets all the way in there, then we're going to do, like everything, let's bring this thing down and tighten it up a little bit. Don't go crazy tight. If you notice that the microphone has a bunch of sort of rubber bands that protects it. So as I move my camera, the microphone is relatively pretty stable, if you can see that right there. So as it moves, it kind of has those shock absorbers to be able to help out and give some bounce with it. Now, what I'm going to do is on the other side here, for now, I'm going to bring in the lens a little bit so it can kind of get out of our way. And then on the other side from where our SD card was, I have some different slots. I have an AV out and an HDMI out. Don't touch those. It says microphone right here. So pop in my fingernail, pull this out. And there's a couple different jacks, but the one that says MIC on the bottom is where we're going to plug this into. Make sure that you get that little plug sound, the snug sound that it goes all the way in. And now, folks, we are ready. We have a mini rig that is all set up. I got my 50mm on there. I got my microphone all set up. And from here, I can now just simply hit that thumb button and start recording away. So that, in essence, I know was a bit long here, but I want you guys to get comfortable, start playing around with this thing. And then we're done. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how to be able to take this into Adobe Premiere and try to get much more cinematic and better views. Good luck with your DSLR.